All right, hi guys. I'm happy to be here. Let me start directly. I'm Daniel. I'm a GTM automation engineer, and today I'm gonna take you inside a content machine and show you how AI and n8n run an entire publishing pipeline. Before we start, some quick information about myself. I'm working in automation since 2023. I first started with make.com. Now I'm working with n8n. Obviously, it's better and cooler. I have a background in digital marketing. As you can already most probably guess by my name, I'm not from Bulgaria. I live in Sofia since 2018, good old times. Originally, I'm from Germany, from Munich, close to there, where I have studied sports and media management. Let's go directly into the topic, but first I'm gonna show you why I have built all of this workflow, because in my company we have realized that our best leads, they don't come from PPC, from ads, LinkedIn, Google Ads or whatever, but they come, in our case, from Google organic search and from AI. So that's why we were thinking, how can we be positioned there in the best way? So our goal is, with my workflow, to show up and be cited in LLMs like ChatGPT, Claude, whatever, or in Google AI overviews. Actually, where's the remote control? Sorry. All right, so my workflow basically starts with a very simple input. In our case, we just get one document, one campaign document delivered. So this contains all information, what is the goal, what should be the topic, persona, ICP, etc. And basically, this one will be just read and analyzed by Claude. So basically, the messaging framework is analyzed and sent to Claude, and it generates, as the very first step, just very country-specific headlines per region. So to make it clear, we are speaking about blog articles in our homepage, which, sorry, I haven't mentioned yet. And yeah, so in the very first step, we generate just topic headlines per region. After that, we send these headlines as items to our Monday board. So basically, every country and every topic has its own item, and under it, each headline as a sub-item, where we then will handle all information like dates, publishing status, and so on and so on. So Claude and n8n sent our headlines to Monday sub-items, and this contains then the regions, the dates, and so on, which I will get back to later. First of all, we do a date randomization. So this means code node is checking the next available dates when we can publish content on our website, because this is some internal stuff, why we have only go lives at certain dates. So the code node is basically calculating the next available slot. Also pulling the taken slots already from Monday, so we will not have duplicates. And then, after this step, we already assign our freelancers. We have them for social media visual creation and such smaller topics, I'd say. So they will get automatically tagged. And then, once our publishing date arrives, which we have set in Monday with the date randomization, a webhook in Monday is triggering, and is triggering n8n actually. So we receive from Monday all the information about the one item that we want to create a blog article about. That means, in my case, I send through the webhook the topic over, I send the region, and so on. I send it over, you see it, I store it in my edit fields tab, and with the get Monday item, I just pull the remaining information that I need from the updates or whatever. After that, We create with the AI agent our articles, so we have our whole campaign document as a reference again inside the AI agent. We have our topic inside the region, so it will write a very specific blog article for this topic. So it can be about why Dutch hospitals need secure file transfer in 2026, for example. And this is exactly the goal, because if some people in a Dutch hospital, as an IT manager, for example, search for such solutions, this is exactly the goal, that we show up in an AI overview, and this will bring us exactly these leads that we need, or like the hottest leads. And basically, after that, I do have it inside the screenshot. We have an automatic length checker, because sometimes Claude is not the best with keeping the lengths in the way I want it to be. So sometimes it's way too long and nobody is reading a blog article which is 5 word pages long. So I have an if module in here, which is just checking if the length of the article is longer than X, it will automatically shorten the article by still keeping the sense and the topic of the article and the content. And then we have our article ready as a raw article. So this is just the output in the AI module. And what do we do? So I store it in the very beginning just as a Google Docs file. It's readable, it's editable, and trackable by the team. That means if anybody from the team or from product management wants to go in, have a look, maybe make some changes, they can do it, which by the amount of blog pages we create is maybe actually not done, because we trust our setup and our MCP server which is connected. So this is only the raw article. This doesn't help us yet. We need the HTML version, and also we want to paste crosslinks. So what we have done is we have created a file with various crosslink articles inside, with various crosslinks, sorry, where we know, okay, this is a page where we definitely want to crosslink within our own website. We load this file, we send it into the next AI agent and connect it with the raw output from before and say, hey, right now you have created this article, we have these crosslinks available, analyze the content and see which string, which word or whatever makes sense to be linked to another page. And then it creates basically a second file as a HTML directly with the available crosslinks. Then in this case, it would come to the WordPress upload. Many people who work with n8n would probably now say, why don't you just put a n8n node for WordPress and upload it? I wish it was this easy for us. I can say you plot twist, it's not. That's why we have even a freelancer for this right now who is doing it. It's a bit more technical, but in general, you could theoretically just push it to WordPress or any other system through an n8n node. Right now, I'm trying to automate even this, but this is still work in progress. What's the next step? So our blog article is then basically live. In the background, it's also updating Monday. It's updating the status to done. So this goes into the archive. My Monday board finally gets a bit less crowded, which I'm very happy about. And then we actually generate the next article out of the article. So in this case, it's about Substack. We create a Substack version in some kind of a thought leadership version out of the originally created blog article. This is also done directly through the Claude agent. And you can see here that afterwards we make a LinkedIn copy directly. So a LinkedIn article with a copy, sorry. So you can see here that basically, okay, the resolution is not the best, but it checks the region in which we are publishing the blog article. So it is either, in this case, Spain, Netherlands, or Germany, or UK as well. And depending on the region, we have then a switch module. And the 3 pens you can see here, it's either for Germany, Netherlands, Spain. Inside there is a specific prompt for a person which directly writes the post in the tone and voice of the specific person, and then sends, as a next step, email. So in this case, we come to the human in the loop module, because theoretically, I could now just post through the LinkedIn API the article on LinkedIn, and it's live. Even if I personally trust AI kind of much, I wouldn't dare to post something on LinkedIn without even approving it first. So in this case, everything I have created in the previous slide goes through another switch module, and again, depending on which market it is, it goes to the inbox of the respective person. So I have fixed this already, so you can ignore the warnings here. But basically, yeah, we send an approval email. In the approval email, it already looks basically like a LinkedIn post. So we have the HTML code in the Outlook node, where it generates basically the style of the LinkedIn post already, and it contains 2 buttons. So when the person opens the email, he sees, okay, I have a new LinkedIn post suggested to publish. Let me have a look. And there is the copy, the visual, etc. And then 2 buttons, regenerate and approve. The approve button basically just triggers a webhook, which then is running the lower workflow here. I'm sorry, it's a bit smaller, but basically it's checking for the next available posting slot. So we also store all of the LinkedIn posts in a Google Sheet, and whenever there is the free next available slot, the post will be published through an API called to LinkedIn. It's a bit more difficult to schedule nowadays on LinkedIn if you don't use the normal module, but in general, it works really nice, and you can forget about copy-paste, about accidentally missing something or whatever, choosing the wrong visual, whatever, because everything is sent over through the webhook. Something I don't have here now, but I mentioned the regenerate button. So whenever the person who is receiving the post suggestion is not happy about the suggested post, he can just click on regenerate. My workflow will run again, will receive the old post that is basically disapproved, and it will generate a new one and send the email just back to the person, hopefully to be approved this time. This is basically now a quick overview of the workflow. I think I've shown maybe 30 nodes out of, I think, 300. But just to show you some numbers behind it. First, which tools do we use? And I personally don't think that these are any specific or very fancy tools. It's a tool that every marketer uses, I guess. So obviously n8n, otherwise I wouldn't be here today. Monday.com as the project management platform. Google Docs and Sheets, this can obviously be replaced by Word, Excel. I've personally changed this already now to just a TXT file, so we don't create Google Docs, we just add in Monday directly the TXT file that is generated in n8n. We use obviously Claude API, we use the LinkedIn API, and Outlook for the approval. But you can use, as you've heard today, basically anything for human in the loop, Telegram, WhatsApp, Gmail, whatever. Now, what are the results so far that we have seen? In total, altogether, it's more or less 3 or more workflows if you split it up, depending on how you want to see it. Altogether, I'd say these are more than 300 nodes. I'll show a screenshot in a bit. Right now, in our Monday pipeline, we have more than 300 articles coming up this year. And if you now think you don't have n8n, you don't have Claude or whatever, you do it like, let's say, 5 years ago, and you write a blog post like you did years ago. You need to write the content, you need to review it, you need to upload it, set the links, cross-links, whatever. You need 3.5 hours, we guess. With my automation, so the run takes around 5 minutes from the very beginning to the very end. And if you calculate this out, this is more than 1,000 hours saved per year, so you can imagine how much money actually is saved just by this automation. And you need basically 0 copywriters and 0 editors for that. Now, let's have a quick look at the screenshot. I wasn't able to squeeze it more, but basically the red node on the top left is just the headline generation. Then the yellow one under it is basically the article generation. And you see at the very end, it's basically splitting into 3 different routes for the LinkedIn content creation. We have on the right all the Substack content creation and its publishing behind it. And on the sides, I just have some helper tools in case something breaks. I need something to put in manually to cross-check. So yeah, in general, I think it's a very helpful tool. Maybe in some cases it's a bit overcomplicated and not necessary to be always like this. But I'd say this is a way how you can fully automate your content as long as you just feed it one time with a document. That's it from my side. Bulgaria, and feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn.
Thank you, Daniel.